Welcome back to Conquering College. I'm Jeff Anderson. In this video, we're going to analyze your term calendar. We're referring to the term calendar you made in video 2. To begin this process, we're going to review your final exam schedules and make sure that everything works out okay. So, look back on the calendar that you created in video 2. Identify, do you have any time conflicts with your regularly scheduled final exams? These will be things like travel, other classes, work, etc., etc. If not, smile, be happy. If you do have time schedule conflicts with your final exams, then decide right now either to cancel the activity that conflicts, enroll in another section of that class with a different final exam time, or drop the course that you're conflicting with and reschedule it for another term. The last option that you might try is to ask your professor to reschedule finals. Be very careful about this. A lot of times professors will write on their syllabus what their policies are. Read that before you ask. It's important to know. Okay, now that we've looked over your final exams, a second thing that you want to know is, do you have anything scheduled for the weekend before final exams? This is a really important study time, and you want to check now to make sure you're not overplanned. If not, great, you're free. Otherwise, you want to decide now, can you reschedule that weekend's activity so you're free before finals? Can you plan extra time in the weeks before that so that you can study to make up for it? Even if you're free on the weekend before, I would still suggest to plan in a bunch of time on the week before finals and then the weekend before finals, just to make sure you can study well. Okay, we're still looking at final exam schedules. We checked that you don't have any time conflicts with the final exams. We check that you're free the weekend before. The last thing that we want to do is check to see if you have anything scheduled immediately after finals. And this means within 3 hours after the end of the final exam. The reason that we want to check this is that sometimes professors will give you extra time on finals, and if you're scheduled to do something else, it's kind of hard to stay. And the second thing is finals are exhausting. It's worth having time afterwards so you can sleep, take a nap, eat, take a run, whatever it is that you do to come down. If you don't have anything scheduled, take a deep breath and relax. Great, you're doing well. If you do have anything scheduled within 3 hours of the end of any of your finals, decide to either reschedule these activities or sacrifice the possibility of staying afterwards if that's available. It's rare, but it does happen. Okay. Now that we've analyzed your final exam schedule, what we want to do is look back at your term calendar from the last video and understand your time conflicts. So in particular, write down all of the dates that you will either have to be absent from an in-class meeting or show up late from an in-class meeting. For example, you'll see that this table is provided for you in the worksheet associated with this video. We have our term calendar open, and we're just going to go ahead and list up all the days in the absence. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm playing a game right now, and I'm looking at my term calendar. As I looked at this, if I already scheduled all my personal events, all the quarter events, there are 2 days that I know I'm going to be absent. And those 2 days are written in my calendar. I know that if I look to the end and I'm searching, the days that I need to be absent, I'm going to write down. And the first day is the day before Halloween. I really want to go on to Las Vegas, do a crazy trip on Halloween, get all dressed up, and I know I'd like to miss that day. So I'm going to go ahead and just write that, the day that I'm going to be absent, which is the actual date. And then I'm going to write the day of the week, because normally classes are scheduled on specific days. I'm also going to identify now which classes I'm going to want to miss on that day, because it's really important for me that I can plan ahead for those classes. So that's the first day. The second day is on the day before Thanksgiving. I have an out-of-state flight to go meet a family member in Texas, and so I know I'm going to have to miss that day. It's already booked. So I go ahead and just write the date, the day of the week, and the classes that are affected. Identify this now. The important part of this process is to include the day of the week, because that's how you understand which classes you're supposed to be, and later when we look back, it's really nice to know that. Also, again, we identified which classes are going to be affected. All right, so the last part of this process of analyzing our calendar is to actually think about, are we serious about achieving our goals? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to write down our course goals from video 1. Here in the In the table that I've provided, we're just going to literally copy the course name. We write our academic goals that we decided, which is the grade letter that we wanted. And each of these are going to be based on what we had decided in class 1 or in video 1. So in this case, I'm going to write Math 1C. I'm signed up for that class, let's say. I want an A in that class. Down here, we're going to see a table of my suggestions for the number of days you should expect to miss, given that you want those grades. If you expect to get an A in a class, I suggest that you expect to miss no more than 1 class, period. If you're serious about getting an A, dedicate yourself to full attendance. So if I realize that that's important, I'm going to go back and look at my days of absence, and I realize immediately that if I have to choose between a Las Vegas trip on Halloween or seeing my family on Thanksgiving, no question. I'm going to skip the Las Vegas trip. I'll go somewhere local, get dressed up, see friends, make sure that I can be there for Thanksgiving. So I just go ahead and cancel that out. That's exactly what I've done in this video. So, and then the next thing, I'm going to write my other classes down, Math 2B, which happens on Fridays. I want an A in that class, so I know that the maximum number of days that I'm going to allow myself to miss is 1. Same thing is true for the maximum number of days that I allow myself to show up late. Maybe I signed up for a third class, maybe it's English. It's not my major class, so I'm not so worried about that. I don't mind if I get a B in that class. In this case, I'll allow myself to miss maybe 2 days, still only show up once. And I set those goals now. I like to write those numbers down so that as the quarter goes on, I can refer back to them. This table is just a suggestion based on my 9 years as a professional college student, super helpful. The main idea is that you're priming the pump. All right, so we've gone ahead and listed this. I like to ask this question of myself, and I would encourage you to ask this of yourself. Are you serious about achieving your academic goals? If you are, then decide to commit to regular attendance, meaning to say that when class is happening, you're there, and you're there on time. Show up on time, ready for class every single day. If you're not serious about your academic goals, and what I mean by not serious is that you can't commit to regular attendance, that's okay. I would suggest 2 things. 1, either consider your academic goals. Maybe lower your standards instead of going for an A, maybe decide to go for a B or C, and that way it gives you more flexibility on the number of days that you can miss. Or reconsider your class schedule. Maybe drop 1 or 2 classes, really focus in on the classes that you can guarantee to make. I want to share a quick story with you. In my entire 9 years of college, I went through 4 years of undergraduate, 5 years as a PhD student, I missed 2 classes. That's not 2 days of class, it's 2 classes. I missed the class on the afternoon of my father's retirement, and I missed the class on the morning after my 21st birthday. I was there later in the day to go to my other classes, but I thought it was really important to show up to class. I suggest that you take that as an example. Use that for yourself. If you're serious about your academic goals, make a commitment now before the quarter starts that you're going to have as close to perfect attendance as you can have. Take a look at your schedule, set yourself up for success. In the next video, we're going to transition from term calendar to setting up your weekly calendar. I'll see you in the next video.